If you're going to sell your gold, if you have, $1,000 worth of gold, if it's in coins, then obviously you can get practically $1,000 for it. If it's in the form of earrings or a bracelet, and then obviously it needs to be, assayed and melted down, and so you're not going to be able to sell it at spot. But you certainly should be able to get, 70 or 80% of its metallic value. I don't know what it really costs to melt this stuff down and put it in a form where a dealer could buy it.
Well,
but certainly these companies, if companies are paying you 20 cents on the dollar, they're getting rich, ripping you off and basically stealing your gold from you.
Well, that's been the whole premise on what's it worth. And just so you know, what we advise our clients to do, what we advise anybody listening in, when you do sell your gold, the key is to make that decision to sell the gold or not to sell the gold. If you make a decision to sell the gold, there are so many opportunities with local jewelers around the country who are actually approachable, and you can ask them. And so what we advise our listeners to do is to visit our facility, for example, get an assay report so that they know, for example, that they have $1,000 worth of gold.
Yeah, I mean, what a lot of people probably don't even realize, they don't realize how much the gold has actually gone up in the last 5 or 10 years. So they're surprised, even if they're offered 20% of what the gold is worth, that could be more than they paid for the bracelet initially.
Absolutely.
And because one of the things, people don't know how much their silverware is worth. I mean, if you have silverware, silver was selling for $4 or $5 an ounce for years in the 1990s. And if you bought a set of sterling silver, and now the silver is worth $18 an ounce, there's a good chance that even if you paid retail and you paid 100% markup, there's still a very good chance that the melt value of your silverware is worth several times what you paid for it. So, but people just don't understand what's happened. They don't understand, what's happening to the value of money. Because, now, even if you have a penny is worth 2 cents. Even if you have a brand new penny that was minted yesterday, the metal in that penny is worth 2 cents. The metal in a nickel, I think, is worth a dime. So, and it shows you how quickly our money is losing value. And as this happens, more and more people might fall victim to these schemes because they don't really know the value. This is not a time to be selling gold. This is a time to be accumulating gold. You want to sell paper. You want to cash out your bank deposits. Sure, if you need to keep some emergency money for your spending, but you certainly don't want to hold on to paper for use in the future when its value will be diminished. You want to hold on to things like gold.
Peter, I'm going to say this. It was a fascinating discussion. I honestly was not even prepared for some of the things that you brought to the attention of listeners. I want to thank you so much for talking to us tonight. Peter, lastly, what I want the listeners to be aware of is how they can also contact you and be apprised of your political progress and your political views, because I think what you're doing is just something that this country needs. Where would they be able to get that information?
Yeah, if you want to help me in the Senate race, and I can certainly use a lot of help, both in volunteers and in donations, you can go to my campaign website, which is schiffforsenate.com. My last name, Schiff, F-O-R, Senate.com. You can donate. I could use financial help. It's going to be an expensive race. We've raised about $1.6 million, a little over that so far, but I probably need about $10 million, to run a Senate campaign, so I need a lot of money. So you can make a donation. You can also sign up to volunteer. And one of the things that people can do if they volunteer is I have a database, a phone bank on my website. Once you sign up for volunteer, you get access to it. And in your spare time, you can make phone calls to the Connecticut voters. Right now we've got the Republican voter base, name base up there, and there's a script that you can read or memorize and you just make phone calls and you talk to Connecticut voters. Let them know that Peter Schiff is in the race, what I stand for. Encourage them to go to my website, to check me out on YouTube and Google and learn about me. And if we have enough people making those phone calls, then that's going to really increase the chances that I can get elected.
Well, that's great. So we have SCHIFF for Senate, schiffforsenate.com.
Mm-hmm.
And people will be able to call, and I'm going to be repeating that in shows to follow. I want to thank you very much, and I'd like to hold open the possibility that you would come back to the show and talk to us. Peter Schiff, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on.
Take care. Well, that's the end of tonight's show. Please call in with any comments to 248-569-3000. That's 248-569-3000. Or you can always email me at anthony@worthradio.com. That's anthony@worthradio.com. God bless, and good night.
Thanks for listening to What's It Worth with Anthony DiMaggio.